Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No.B.Invested Birchy podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Birch, and this is a show unraveling the truth to the start of the 21st century. We're now exiting the matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. Reality, good, bad, or different, right? There's people out there that are winning and there's people out there that are losing. There's things that are good, there's things that are bad, right? So today I want to talk about the reality of the market, the reality of 2024, right? We've survived 6 months of this year. It's craziness, and it's crazy how fast life keeps on compounding. And I've got my thought about something, right? And this is like, I thought about this when I was a kid, and I think some people might think about this, and some people may not even give two fucks about it. But think about it. Every year you feel like, wow, the year's just gone so fast, right? It's just slipped through my fingers, right? I can't believe we're already at Christmas, right? It just happens like that. But you think about it, if you're a kid and you're a year old, right? Like that year's been your whole life, right? And you're 2 years old, and that's like 50% of your life. And if you're a 10-year-old, that's 10% of your life. You're a 20-year-old, a year's like 5% of your life. You're 50-year-old, it's only 2% of your life. But on your first year of your life, your first 5 or 10 years of your life, you don't have the subconscious memory of all the past previous memories that you've got, right? So I guess every year that compounds, it comes around much quicker because you just slap a memory on top of a memory on top of a memory, and it's a much smaller time. It's like, oh, Christmas was just here. There's another Christmas now, right? So, I guess we're halfway through the next year of 2024, and what are you doing with your life? Not trying to be all depressing and stuff, right? But I want to be thinking about strategically, right? You probably, set off some party poopers, watch the fireworks, drank some beer or something on New Year's, whatever people do on New Year's, and going, I'm going to do this in 2024. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. Might try new diet, exercise, quit smoking, whatever it is for you, right? But I'm sure you've got some financial goals, and I guess that's what I want to talk about today. We're halfway through the year. Let's check in, right? Where are you at with your 2024 goals? Have you reached them? If you haven't reached them, why haven't you reached them? What things have you done in order to get yourself towards that? And, we've all driven somewhere and we're like, I've got to be here at 5 o'clock at a certain destination. And you take a little detour. You go get Macca's, you go for a little drive, you go off course, right? But you can still get back on track, right? So the year, we've got a half a year left. What has been holding you back this year? Did just life get in the way? Is there an issue? Is there a finance issue? Why aren't you where you're at? What can you do to turn the wheel to get you to where you want to be? So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Second thing I want to talk about is just the market update in general, what I'm seeing, what I think will happen for the next half of the year, maybe some interest rate predictions. You guys are thinking, what's going to happen, Birchy? Tell me some interest rate predictions. I'm going to talk about that today as well. So at the start of the new financial year, right? And so what things have you done and where are we at? And fuck, I just said that. But we're at the new financial year. What has been holding you back, right? And I think a lot of people, when they get stuck, it could be their finances, right? I would say, and this is what is interesting about the property market out there at the moment, I would say that if interest rates were to drop, and I'm not going to get on the interest rate prediction yet, but if interest rates were to drop today, I reckon that out of all the people I know and that are watching, if you're watching this, you're like, shit, if I just had a loan, I'd be able to buy a property. If I get a loan, if I had the money, I'd buy a property. Everyone would buy more property because they just see the value in it, right? So what happens when interest rates do drop? What would happen, right? So I reckon that most of people's issues as to why they haven't bought their 10th property or 20th property or whatever number you're up to, your second property, third property, whatever, first property, is probably due to a lack of funds or a lack of knowledge, it could be, or it could be the inability to get finance, right? Some people are waiting. People go, I'm going to wait for next year or wait for this to happen or wait for that to happen. But most people will be wanting to wait for something. But if we're in a new financial year, let's look at it. Why haven't you bought? Why haven't you done something, right? Is it because you can't get a loan? Well, how much are you failing servicing by? I caught up with Peter last week and talked on the podcast about, tax time, things have changed when it comes to finance, right? And if you haven't watched it, go back and watch last week's video on that. But if we're sitting here looking at finance, right, what things could you be doing actively to improve your finance? So if I couldn't get a loan today, and first thing I'd be asking is broker, bank, why can't I get a loan? How far do I fail servicing? Oh, you fail by $1,000 a month. Okay, well, at least we know now there's a line in the sand, right? The line in the sand is $1,000 a month. Okay, well, what do I need to get an extra $1,000 a month? You go to your boss, go push some more money, you're a business, you do your tax return, whatever the case may be. Okay, we know we need $1,000 a month. It's about $200 to $250 a week you need to come with extra income. Well, let's go to our property management, right? When was the last time you put up your rents? It's the middle of 2024. Have you put up your rents, right? No, I haven't. Okay, well, can we go and look at the 3 properties I own? Okay, this one put up by $20, this one put up by $30, this one by $20, $20, $20, $30, there's $70 a week in extra rental income, right? So you need to get $200 a week, $250, you're a third to a quarter of the way there by just doing that, right? So there's one little thing, tick, we can do that. Maybe I can save some money. Let's go and speak to the broker. Hey, can I refinance this? Can I, restructure this? What can I do? So there's things that you can be doing at any point. And I think that you can sometimes get distracted in life, and life gets better of us. I don't know, someone's having a birthday, someone's getting married, someone's having a kid, someone's traveling, someone's got an illness, someone's got a death, whatever the case may be. But life moves on, right? So I'm not trying to be insensitive, right? There's a lot of bad things that happen out there, but like some people will hold that for the next 5 years and be like, I'm not going to do anything until 2026. It's like, well, fuck, that's a long time, right? Like 2026, you could be retired by then, right? So I guess taking acknowledgement, what can we do to get our goals on track? Is there something that we can help you with? You can reach out to us, you know where to find us. And the ability to get that back on track. And sometimes I see people and they can't do anything for a year or two, and then the next minute they're out there buying 5 properties in 2 weeks, right? So don't let it discourage you. You might just have that one property and you've held it for 3 years, right? And that thing's gone from 200 grand to 600 grand. You've got 400 grand worth of equity. You can't service. You had a kid, the wife ain't working, something's gone wrong. But now, because you did that one decision 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, when it comes time, you've got 400 grand in equity to go get. There's another. I've got a client that I bought years ago, right? And I'm not going to say his name. Lovely gentleman. Spoke to him for the first time in a couple of years the other week, and he'd done a few properties. He's, had life's happened to him, and he's like, I think if there's a window of opportunity of chance, I could do this right now. And the properties that he'd bought gave him like 400 or 500 grand worth of equity. Servicing was a little bit tight. But his bank said, you can only pull out 100 grand worth of that 500 grand equity or whatever. I was like, that's bullshit, right? We need to structure this, right? And sent him over to Zinger. Zinger's pulling out the equity. And we've got 4 properties on the run for him at the moment. 2 we're buying cash using equity. And it's just how that loan is structured. So he sat there, done nothing for a few years, got back on track. I want to get into like 10 properties this year at least, right? If we can get in there, it'd be great. So that's like he was like, really? I can do that? Really? How can I make this happen? And it's like, let's just do what we can, right? We can work with what we've got. So just keep pushing forward, right? It's a tough time. People's servicing is tough. Interest rates are, up high, and that impacts servicing. I'm not saying people are hurting because of interest rates, of course, out there. I'm not saying everyone is, because I love interest rates going up, because the more they go up, the more the rents go up. And you're buying a 200 grand property and the interest rate goes up by 1%, you might lose, $2 grand a year, that might be $40 a week. But if you push the rent up $50 this year and $50 next year, your rent's gone up higher, right? But there's people hurting. So I appreciate that too. So on that front, what does the next half of 2024 look like, right? So that's up to you for yourself. I'm going to talk about market and what I see happening in the property markets and finance markets out there. And we're at a point where I haven't talked about interest rates for a long while. I was very active and very social and very open about it. I got them all right up until a certain point, and then I said that interest rates can't go up, right? I didn't say they will not, right? Go watch every single video I've ever put out there. I've never said that they will not go up. I've never not once said that they will not go up. I said they can't go up. So there's a very difference between they can't and they won't, right? They can't go up because if they do, the market will shit itself. It will die. Everything will die. We'll end up into a massive recession, a depression, right? I've said that. I laughed about it many years ago. Go watch old videos where I said zombie companies, liquidations, administrations, businesses would fail, all that. They can't put the rates up, but they did, right? So for all those little fucking keyboard warriors that live in their parents' basement and going, oh, Nathan's a fucking dickhead because he got it wrong, right? I didn't get it wrong. I said they can't put it up. Doesn't mean that they won't put it up. And they put it up, and that's caused a lot of chaos, right? But within chaos brings opportunity, and that's the thing I get most excited about. I said when Corona happened, like, it's the best opportunity out there, right? Unfortunately, this time it's very different, and I didn't say that there's an opportunity on this time, right? Because the opportunity, they just can't put it up. They can't sustain high interest rates, right? Everything will collapse. And that's happening. Businesses are collapsing, lots of bad things out there, but property market hasn't collapsed because, they just can print this cheap money. It's still relatively cheap, right? And people can service that debt. There are people hurting, and those things that are hurting are businesses, are governments globally. The governments are in massive amounts of debt like we've never seen beforehand. Businesses are in massive amounts of debt. The government departments, whether it be the tax department, wherever, they're all broke. They're all chasing money very hard. No one's got the money to pay up. So it's a very bad environment out there, right? And we're on the eve of them dropping rates, right? I said at the start of 2023, I said that I don't care what happened with interest rates in 2023, that we'd see the first rate cut by the middle of 2023, which I was wrong. That's the only thing I've been wrong about, just to clarify that. Right? Been wrong, right? But I wasn't wrong intrinsically, right? Because in depth, because there was a change in monetary policy from the middle of last year, and that's when rates stopped going up. They've gone up once or twice or whatever since then, and I think it's only once since the middle of last year. So that time frame of them going up and then stopping and then coming back down is a bit more delayed. But the bigger the delay, the bigger the problems that are causing out there, and the bigger the opportunity will be on the backside of that. So I've talked about property markets many times over the years, and when you see a recession, you see reverse of monetary policy, like Corona. Everyone was scared of Corona. I was the guy that was fucking happy and doing Facebook Lives every 2 hours and doing whiteboard sessions saying, this is what's happening out here, this is fantastic, right? So when we see that rate cut, right, you just won't get one rate cut. You're going to get like one after another, after another, and after another. And if you go look through all the charts, I'm not going to go into it too much because I blab on about this on my Facebook Lives on Tuesday nights quite often. And I pull out charts and stats and figures and stuff and show how far they fall. But we're on the eve of that, right? And we're seeing major countries around the world dropping rates. A lot of the central banks have started reversal of monetary policy. The US hasn't dropped their rates yet. Australia hasn't. Bank of Switzerland has twice. I think the Bank of UK and the Bank of Canada have all dropped their rates the first time. So they all go up together, they all come back down together. We're on the eve of that. Whether that happens in July, whether that happens in September, I think we've got two more rate meetings before we see a rate cut. But when that rate cut comes, what's going to happen to the market after that, right? So that's the opportunity, folks. So that's one thing, is we're going to have a rate cut shortly. I'm not going to say exactly what day. I think, September-ish, October-ish, we'll start seeing that. The global economy is toast, right? Businesses are toast. There's lots of problems out there. I've been having the greatest time of my life, right? Every time I put your rents up, my management fees go up and I get more rental income for you, so you're paying us more commissions and all that sort of stuff. We've got property prices keep rising. Things are great, but there's a lot of people hurting out there, right? I don't like to gloat when other people are, doing it tough, right? And we all do it tough in certain different ways that do affect us too. So, So on that note, that's what's happening with financial markets. We're still on track for that. And it's going to be epic. It's going to be wild when we start seeing companies collapse and businesses go under. Like, I've been watching, there's a cancer research department that's had to put off 75% of the staff because the government isn't funding them anymore. World Vision just got in trouble for not paying, entitlements and stuff like that. Businesses are put salary caps on. Businesses put on recruiting caps. Every time I go on the news, there's a company that's a massive company of tens of millions of dollars that has gone under, right? It's very, very bad, right? It's very, very bad. Last year we saw banks collapsing, right? I said, and I I've always said I want to have a goal of owning a bank. I've been looking, literally this morning, I was looking at bank share prices and certain different financial institutions of how I could strip them and use them for parts, right? And one day I'll get one. But banks have been collapsing around the world, right? Because of the products that they've been getting and the business that they've been running has been a Ponzi scheme, right? So it's fragile, and that's an opportunity there. To the other side, what's happening in the property markets out there, right? And rents, tremendous, right? If you're a tenant watching this, or if you're not a tenant, because half of my clients are tenants, right? But if I see those ones that are like victim tenants, right? And the ones that are like, how dare you, right? They're like, they've got fucking purple hair and blue hair and green hair, and they're like, you're just a capitalist piece of shit, right? Whatever the case may be. Cool. Right. It's just market, folks. But looking at the rental market, I've had great joy out of seeing, yes, interest rates have gone up, but we're protecting our investors, and we're seeing those rents go up. If it wasn't for certain attributes to the market, these rents wouldn't be rising like this. It's just inflation is not discriminatory against toilet paper or fucking loaf of bread or a bottle of milk or anything from your shopping cart that you can't afford to pay for anymore. It's also trickles onto rents and all that. So rents have been amazing, going up. I'm single-handedly doing the rent reviews across all the Blink brands and all of my other financial, in any type of real estate office that I'm involved with, I've been pushing up those rents, and it's been fantastic, right? I'm seeing rents that have been $200 a week, and $300 a week, $250 a week, and $350, $400, right? $400 is sort of the benchmark. If anyone wants to sit there and say, oh, those purple hair, blue hair people that I was talking about with, just that are victims and whatever, not all people with coloured hair are victims, right? I just say it, a moody millennial, a person getting angry at me for what I'm saying. We provide, throughout myself and my investors and my business that control rentals, we provide the most affordable accommodation in this country. Right? So just remember that too, right? Like you can't. There's like less than 5% of stock that is under $400 a week rent nationally, right? Nationally, every little country town, everything like that. So we specialise in that. So we're providing affordable accommodation to people, just before you get ethically at me, right, for what's coming out of my mouth. But I'm having joy pushing up those rents because it just is what it is. And I'm seeing the rental market show no signs of slowing down on that front, right? And there will be a point, there's only a certain threshold where prices can go to, and you might get an extra $50 per week. But then when you couple that $50 you just had, $50 prior, and then the next $50, there's $150. And you see the interest rates drop down by 2%, 200 pips, basis points. They go back, and then you're suddenly saving $150 there. You're an investor. Your neutral cash flow 2 years ago, you felt pain for the last 2 years. Then your property portfolio suddenly $200, $300 a week positive, and then you've got 10 of these fuckers. You're now, $150K a year positive cash flow. You're going to be living a good life soon, right? So, whilst it might feel a bit, draggy, laggy, interest rates is, my food's gone up, my kids' school costs have gone up, whatever the case may be, it will pass, right? And I don't mean to be like that too shall pass, right? But it will pass. And the other side of it I see is being very, very great for a lot of you folks. So excited by that too. As for property prices out there in the market, is there a hotspot I'm investing into or anything like that? I'm still very actively investing in all the markets that I was investing into. There's some new markets that I've ventured into in the course of 2024 that, my investors are benefiting greatly from, right? I'm buying properties that are half price of what they were 10 years ago, right? And people think it's impossible to buy a property for 150 grand, 200 grand. It is getting more impossible to do that, but definitely still achievable in capital cities out there across the rest of the country. So, there's deals out there that are positive cash flow. There's deals out there that are still 200 grand below rebuild cost, whatever. I was thinking about beforehand, one of my investors that I bought for at the start of this year, there was a strata issue in a property. It was a unit in Perth, right? It was in the city of Perth. This investor knows exactly who they are. If they're watching this, they know exactly who they are, because it's like I called them up in a state of panic for them, right? And it was a Friday at 4:50. Yeah, and sometimes I don't check my emails for days might pass and I don't see my emails because I'm just too busy or whatever. And I was just saw an email that came through immediately from the lawyer. Person had pulled out of the deal. They were going to pull out, and it was 10 minutes to go. And if you know lawyers and you know how it works in a law firm, Friday afternoons are chaos, right? Settlements, exchanges, lawyers going out for lunch, long lunches, whatever. Things go wrong. Intercepted an email, called the client, and I said, whatever you do not pull out of that deal. Right? It was a unit in Perth CBD for $210,000. And there was maybe a possibility of a $5,000 to $10,000 special levy for this property. And they saw the strata report, they got scared, pulled out, whatever. I called the lawyer, I said, fuck, don't pull out. Called the investor, said, hey, call the lawyer, sort this out, don't pull out. Get an extension if you want it, we'll talk about it over the next week, and we'll try and get a price reduction on the property. Okay, cool. Somehow I was able to massage this property. The agent was a bit dumb. Finance took a bit longer. We massaged this for 2 weeks of extensions. Got the property done. This property at the time, 200 grand. This was 210 grand. This was maybe March 2024, and we're now in July 2024. I'd secured the deal in January 2024 for 210, and the market took off so high. When I called my client at 4:50 on the Friday afternoon, I couldn't contact my staff. My staff was on a phone call or something. I just picked up the phone. I was like, hey, fucking hurry up, right? Don't pull out. Just do this. Okay, cool. And I said, look, here's what I'm looking at from this deal. The next cheapest thing, and I went on to realestate.com mid-conversation because I know the market already got up by 50K. Mid-conversation, I said the cheapest property is 400 grand, but there is one for offers over 320,000. You would not believe where this property is. It's actually in the same complex as you, in the same level as you, on the same, it's like next door, 2 doors over from your unit. Identical, right? For offers over 319 or something like that. I was like, we're buying the cheapest property, which is 80 grand cheaper than the next one. We're buying 110,000 cheaper than that. And you're getting like $500 a week rent. Just buy this thing. And we had a laugh and it was like, okay, cool. We see it, right? We see it. And we got this deal done. And I just looked at that one period of that market, and that property is probably, you can't buy a unit for under 350K in there, right? That person has nearly doubled their property in 4 months, 5 months of ownership. That's a hot market, folks. That's a hot market. I'm very cautious, when I buy in a certain market, when stupidity starts setting in, right? That person's done fantastic. But, there's markets out there that I'm still buying in 2024 that are cheaper than what they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, right? So, there's some markets that are getting to a hot time and people are just flocking to them. There's markets which are getting kicked in the guts, and that's the markets that you want to really be doubling down into. And there's markets that there's just great opportunities in. So, as for, is it Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, Cairns, Townsville, wherever the case may be, there's opportunities that are out there. There's locations which I'm like, let's go all in, right? Let's go all in on these markets, which I don't even talk about. I only talk about inner circle with my investors. So if you know where I'm talking about, if you're one of my investors. But the markets, there's opportunities out there. Some markets are wild, some markets are still soft, some markets have been soft. Has interest rates impacted activity out there? When prices are doubling in a year, interest rate ain't affecting anything, right? They're having an opposite effect to it. And I did actually say that going back when interest rates started moving 18 months ago, I said, or 24 months ago now, I said that this is going to add to the inflation burden, right? It's going to add to inflation. You're pushing up the rates, it's going to keep pushing inflation up, which is an interesting observation. But I do feel like we're on the cusp of a change. Do I think we're going to see any property market collapse? No. I've said in previous times gone by, in 2018 and 2017, I said I thought we'd see a correction in property, and I was very negative, right? People go, oh, Birchy, you say property's going to go up all the time. No, I don't always say that property's going to go up. I say be careful, like I'm saying right now in certain markets. I said that there was a financial issue that happened many years ago. We're sort of in that, which is very odd. But we're coming to a point where we're going to see a collapse of a lot of companies and a lot of businesses, a lot of people, a lot of pain out there, because there is a lot of pain. But is being absorbed quite nicely, and that pain is not affecting some people, and the pain for the masses will mean the next boom cycle. So we're on the eve of that. So that's just my thoughts on a market update. I wish I could sit here and say this suburb's great and this suburb's trending and all that. I ain't gonna give away my intellectual property to people that are just sitting there going, fuck, where can I pull a little hot thing and make a meal out of Birchy? That's what I specialise in, right? I've been doing this for 21 years now, investing, and I love markets and taking advantage of some markets and sitting back and watching and eating popcorn and watching as an observer to other markets. So if you do need help on your strategy, on your journey, on your planning, on your getting back on track for your goals for 2024, hit us up. You know where to find us, 1300 367 925. Email us, admin@B.Invested.com.au. Whether you need help from pushing those rents up, right? A second set of eyes on your rental properties. If you have a property and I don't manage it, I'm in nearly everyone's neighbourhood. I'm national, right? I have staff in every neighbourhood out there, right? Get a second opinion. Let's see what we can do to push those rents up. See if we can generate you more money this year from your properties and your assets that you own. If you don't know how to get the extra money out of the bank, hit us up. I can help you from finance. If you need strategy and planning and guidance and purchasing, I run a buyer's agent with a twist, right? I was one of the first buyer's agents out there. There was no such thing as a buyer's agent 15 years ago. There was maybe a half dozen buyer's agents out there, the old OG ones. Been doing this for a very long time. I build wealth building those property portfolios, 10, 15, 20, 30 properties in your portfolio. If you're going to want to buy a house that's lovely and you want to live in it and you're emotional, go to someone else, good. Right? But if you want to build a portfolio, that's what I specialise in. You can hit us up. I buy the properties myself for my investors. I use the same investment principles that I'm using myself at whatever time it is that I'm investing. You're buying the same sort of stuff that I'm buying as well. If you need help on that, hit us up, 1300 367 925. Make sure you reach out to us. If you like this content, you want more of this content, make sure you smash up the like, share it on your socials, and subscribe. Hit us up on Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify, and YouTube. I'll see you next Thursday. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it. The dollar back to die, soon to be hyperinflated.